Close your eyes. For a moment, breathe deeply, feeling the fresh air enter your lungs, and then slowly exhale, as if releasing all the tension in your body. Imagine yourself in a calm place, where time seems to pass more slowly, where there is no rush, where everything happens at its own pace, smoothly and serenely. Now, imagine yourself in a medieval village far from the chaos of modern life. Here, the sound of the wind in the trees is what fills the silence of the morning, and the song of the birds is the only melody that accompanies the sunrise. Feel the freshness of the air, the softness of the colors around you, a lush green field, the sky still tinged with deep blue. Imagine the first rays of light touching the earth, gently awakening nature. Now, imagine yourself in a small home built of clay and wood, where the simple act of opening your eyes in the morning does not bring rushing, but rather a feeling of welcome and calm. There is no rush to start the day, just the desire to feel each little moment, to connect with the peaceful environment that surrounds you with every step you take. The field before you stretches out with an almost magical softness, the damp earth beneath your feet, the light breeze caressing your face, the sound of dry leaves being moved by the wind. All this creates a harmony that soothes the heart and ignites an inner peace. Today, we will explore this calm, simple life where every gesture, no matter how simple, has its own rhythm. We will travel to a time when the tranquility of nature guided time and where beauty was in the simplicity of everyday life. Feel free to let the world around you disappear and, for a few moments, surrender to this serenity. With each word that follows, let yourself be carried away by this narrative. Take a deep breath, relax, and allow yourself to be enveloped by this story. Let's travel together without rushing to a place where time has a different rhythm and where every detail is experienced with calm and connection. If you are enjoying this peaceful and serene journey, imagine being able to return to this place whenever you need a moment of rest and peace. By subscribing to the channel, you'll ensure you never miss a story like this. Each video is an opportunity to slow down, relax, and travel to a world where the pace is gentle and the details are profound. So, if you want more moments like this, where calm is the protagonist, sign up now and become part of this community of souls who seek peace in their daily lives. Just one click is all it takes to embark on more stories that will calm your mind and bring a little more tranquility to your day. Imagine yourself waking up slowly, as if you had just woken up from a long and restful sleep, but without rushing. There are no alarms or interruptions, just the soft touch of the dawn light that begins to filter through the windows. The air around you is fresh, and the shadows of the night begin to dissipate calmly and gradually, as if the world itself were stretching out its arms to begin the new day. You are in a small medieval village, a village where time seems to pass more slowly. The first ray of sunlight does not arrive abruptly, but sneaks through the trees, timidly, touching the leaves gently, as if the sun itself were embarrassed to wake the world. The light is soft, golden, almost magical, and envelops the environment with an aura of tranquility that seems to envelop every little detail. Each element of nature around you begins to reveal itself slowly, unhurriedly, as if asking permission to show itself. The village, with its simple and humble houses made of clay and wood, is still covered in the morning mist, which gives the landscape an extra softness, as if the world were still too young to rush. You wake up feeling well rested, but with the traces of sleep still delicately embracing your body. There is no rush around you, and time seems to be in no hurry to move forward. When you open your eyes, you feel the softness of the simple but comfortable wool blanket that envelops your body. The straw bed that forms your refuge is simple but welcoming. It is as if it had been made especially for this moment of rest, where you are not disturbed, where you can simply exist in peace without rushing. Each straw thread seems to have been placed there with the care of someone who knows the value of a good rest, of someone who understands what it is like to feel the earth beneath your feet and the stars in the sky. With your body still a little sleepy, you stretch slowly with gentle movements, as if the space around you itself was asking for calm. There is no rush. Time within this village is gentle, patient. It demands nothing from you, asks for nothing more than your peaceful presence. The sun is not yet fully high in the sky, and the early hours of the day are marked by a rare serenity. There are no sounds of horns or hurried footsteps, but rather the soft sounds of nature. The wind, which moves slowly, caresses the leaves of the trees, while the bird song sounds like a soft and delicate melody that seems to envelop the entire village. The sounds are soft, distant, like a song that slowly unfolds, in no hurry to end. Calmly, you get up, placing your bare feet on the cold clay floor, which still retains the humidity of the night. This sensation is refreshing, as if the soil were still absorbing the freshness of the dawn. Each step you take is gentle, as if the act of walking itself were a peaceful dance with the earth. The air, fresh and pure, enters your lungs with the softness of a hug. It is clean, almost sweet, and seems to renew your energy with each breath. As you approach the window, the golden sunlight begins to filter into the interior of the house. The landscape outside slowly begins to reveal itself. You see the countryside in the distance, a vast expanse of green that stretches as far as the eye can see. The hills, covered in grass and trees, are softly tinted by the morning light. The trees, with their leaves still slightly wet from the night's dew, begin to shine under the gentle touch of the sun. The wind passes through them with an almost imperceptible softness, and the sound of the leaves being caressed by the wind is like a peaceful sigh, like a deep breath of the earth itself. The village around you is also beginning to wake up, but without haste. You observe the calm movement of people in the distance. There is a man tending his goats, moving slowly, with the calm of someone who knows the value of each step. Nearby, a woman washes clothes by the stream, her movements gentle, in no hurry to finish the task. Children play on the dirt roads, but their laughter is light, their games simple and unpretentious. There is no rush in the lives of these people. The rhythm is that of the land, of nature, of life itself, which goes on patiently. The countryside before you feels like a living place, constantly changing, but without the rush that often characterizes the modern world. The earth is damp from the night, which brings a feeling of freshness, as if nature itself has renewed itself while you rested. You smell the earth, the greenery, the plants, and it is all deep and simple. There are no artificial perfumes here, just the pure fragrance of nature, the one that brings a sense of belonging, of connection with the world around you. Looking up at the sky, it is clear and clean, still with traces of the soft colors of dawn. But little by little, the sun rises, taking its place in the sky with immense calm. There is no rush in the sky. There are no clouds rushing to hide. The sky seems to open slowly, welcoming the new day with gentleness, like a large canvas by an artist who is in no hurry to finish his work. The sun then begins to warm the earth, but without the rush of modern times. It rises slowly, with the certainty that its light will bathe the world in due time. There is no rush anywhere. Time seems to be something that you and the earth share, something that moves calmly, as if in a quiet dance. And so, with the first steps taken towards the new day, you feel in harmony with everything around you. You don't need to go anywhere. There is no rush, just the gentle awakening of nature around you. At this point, you feel like you are no longer just watching the sunrise over the village, but that you are a part of it. Every element around you, the wind, the trees, the earth, everything seems to move at a rhythm that you understand, as if you already know the rhythm of this simple, calm world. Everything is ready to begin. The sun continues to rise slowly in the sky, and with it, your day, without haste, without rushing. It is a new beginning, and everything seems to align with a serenity that is rare to find. There is no rush. There is only the gentle passage of time, of the day, of nature. The peasant wakes up slowly, as if time itself had decided to give him a break. There is no rush in his movements, as if the morning was asking him to stretch out slowly, like a flower slowly opening to the first touch of the sun. He feels the soft warmth of the straw bed that envelops him, and for a moment he lies there with his eyes closed, just listening the distant sound of a bird, the rustle of leaves moving in the wind. These are the first signs that the world outside is beginning to wake up. But for now, everything is silent. The rhythm of life seems to be suspended, patiently waiting for him to join it. He doesn't feel the pressure of time. The modern world and its demands don't exist here. His every move is made with a calm that seems to be in tune with nature itself. There are no interruptions, no need to hurry. There is only the here and now, this moment of tranquility where he can simply be. His body, still a little heavy from the night's sleep, begins to stretch little. He stretches his arms, his hands reaching for the thatched roof of the house, feeling the lightness of each movement without the need to speed up anything. His body responds gently, as if it were enjoying the caress of the rest that is still present. The peasant then stands up slowly, as if he, Duesny, wants to disrupt the balance of the moment. His feet touch the cold clay ground with an almost ritualistic softness. The cold of the earth seems to bring a feeling of freshness, like a reminder that life doesn't need to be rushed. He takes a deep breath, feeling the pure morning air entering his lungs. The aroma of the field, of the wet earth, is comforting. Each breath is slower, deeper. The air here has a special flavor, the flavor of simplicity, of purity. He stands up and takes a small step, feeling his bare feet touch the damp ground. The dampness of the earth still retains the coolness of the night, and the contact with the icy surface brings a refreshing sensation. Each step is taken lightly, as if the earth were accepting his touch and responding with affection. The peasant is in no hurry to get anywhere. His steps are measured, made so that he can enjoy every moment, every little detail around him. He walks slowly, as if it were a ritual, his movements following the calm rhythm of the nature around him. When he reaches the window, he looks out. The field in front of him is still covered in the soft morning mist, which gives the scenery a sense of mystery, as if the day is just beginning to reveal its story. The soft light of dawn filters through the trees in the distance, tinting them with a soft golden color. The hills, still shadowy, begin to receive the sunlight. Nature, as if slowly waking up, stretches out before him calmly, and he feels a deep sense of belonging, as if he is an essential part of this cycle, as if he is interconnected with the earth. The wind, the sun, the sound of nature is subtle. The wind blows through the leaves with a softness that makes them move slowly, almost as if they were dancing to a gentle rhythm. The birds, still shy of the arrival of the day, begin to sing softly, their songs blending with the distant sound of the water of the stream. There is no rush. Nature does not demand haste. Everything happens in its own time, in the rhythm of the world. The peasant breathes once more, and with that he feels a deep connection with the world around him. He does not need to go anywhere. He is exactly where he is supposed to be, and the tranquility of that is all he needs. With a sigh, he begins to move, but with the same calm that accompanied his first movements. He knows that the day is just beginning, and, as always, there is no reason to rush it. The work in the fields can wait. The water needs to be fetched. The animals need to be cared for. But none of this is done in a hurry. Each act is like a meditation, an opportunity to connect more deeply with the land. He feels his bare feet touching the soil, the moisture still present, and this brings a sense of renewal. There is no rush. The field awaits his presence. The peasant watches the sky begin to lighten, the first shades of blue being replaced by shades of gold and pink as the sun rises higher and higher. He smiles softly. He doesn't need a clock to know that the day has begun. The natural rhythm of life already tells him everything he needs to know. He doesn't need to plan anything. He doesn't need to rush to be somewhere. Here, in this simple and serene world, time is not something to be rushed. It follows its course, smooth and unhurried, like a calm current of a river that takes its time to reach the ocean. He begins to move across the field, feeling the earth beneath his feet as gently as the breeze touches his skin. The sound of nature seems to intensify as he advances, but without ever becoming hurried. He knows that no matter the difficulties of the day, there is no rush. He is already in tune with the slowness of the world, and that is what makes him feel at peace. Every movement he makes, every step he takes, is a reflection of the rhythm of life itself. There is nothing to be achieved, nothing to be rushed. He simply walks, as if he knows the value of a moment. The sky is now completely lit, with the sun gently touching the earth, slowly warming it. The farmer raises his face to the sky, feeling the gentle warmth of the sun on his skin. He smiles again. Another day begins, and he knows that no matter what happens, he will follow the calm rhythm of the earth. There is no rush. Here, in this place, time is a silent friend, walking beside him, never pressuring him, never rushing him. The day has just begun, and he already feels at home. At peace. The sun, now high in the sky, begins to slowly warm the countryside, and the village awakens serenely, as if each person were gradually stretching for the new day. The peasant, now fully awake, calmly heads to the small kitchen of his house. The house, simple but cozy, is lit by a soft light that enters through the frosted glass window, where the smoke from the fireplace still mixes with the morning freshness. The smell of freshly baked bread still lingers in the air, and the peasant feels a lightness in his chest as he realizes how life, even in its simplest forms, is capable of providing immense satisfaction. There is no rush, no anxiety, just the sweetness of the simplicity that the countryside offers. The farmer opens the wooden door to the kitchen, and the warmth of the fireplace seems to embrace him, driving away the morning chill that is still present outside. He sits at the simple and sturdy wooden table and looks at the food in front of him. The bread, made with rye flour, is thick and rustic, its crust slightly burnt, but exuding a comforting aroma of work and patience. A thin slice of handmade cheese is carefully placed next to it, and a small bowl of homemade butter brings a touch of softness to the plate. The farmer looks at his breakfast in no hurry to begin. Every element on the table is simple, but that is where true abundance lies. He takes a slice of bread and calmly begins to cut away the thickest crust. He feels the firm texture of the dough and the smell of the still warm wheat, reminding him of the hard work that went into making this food. He spreads a generous layer of butter over the slice, watching as it slowly melts under the heat of the bread. Each gesture is made with a calmness, as if he is savoring not only the food, but also the process of preparing and eating it. The sense of gratitude for something as simple as bread and cheese is almost palpable, a silent reminder that, amidst simplicity, lies true wealth. He takes the first bite and closes his eyes, allowing the flavor of the bread, the saltiness of the cheese, and the smoothness of the butter to blend on his palate. There is no rushed swallow. He chews slowly, allowing each flavor to dissolve gently. The simple taste of fresh bread is comforting, and he allows himself to enjoy the tranquility of each moment. The world around him seems to disappear as he focuses on the small sensations that the meal brings. There is no need to rush to finish. Breakfast is a moment of pause, of quiet reflection, where time is in no hurry to pass. The farmer looks out the window, watching the first rays of sunlight that now shine directly on the field. The trees begin to shine with a golden light, and the field in the distance is filled with a softness, as if the world itself had been drawn in a tone of tranquility. He takes a sip of fresh water, taking it from the well right next to the house, and the feeling of refreshment is almost therapeutic. The water, cold and pure, brings with it the renewal of the body, and he feels more alive, more energized, without haste, without pressure. Here, there is no need to be faster to go anywhere. Everything has its time. As the peasant continues to enjoy his meal, he notices the stillness around him, the distant sound of the wind moving through the trees, the soft chirping of birds, and the faint sounds of animals in the background. The world seems to breathe with him in a calm and steady rhythm. He knows that somewhere beyond the fields and hills, the modern world continues to run. But here, where he is, everything is slow and serene, as if time has been gently slowed down. There is no rush to finish breakfast, no rush to get to work. The moment is what matters, and he is there to live it with all his heart. When he finishes his meal, he feels comforted but not full, just satisfied in a way that goes beyond the body. He feels that every piece of bread, every sip of water has its value. It is not just physical sustenance that he has sought, but something deeper. There is a connection to the earth, to the rhythms of life that is nourished by every simple act. He looks at the sunlight, which now floods the kitchen, and feels a deep peace, as if he is in tune with the universe itself. Before leaving for the field, he looks at the table again. The remaining bread will be saved for the next day, and he smiles, satisfied. It is not just the food, but the way it was prepared, calmly, carefully, patiently. He feels gratitude for it, for every simple thing that is part of his life. And with this feeling of contentment, he gets up from the table with calm movements, ready for the next step of his day. The peasant finishes his breakfast with a sigh of satisfaction, the lightness of a simple, comforting meal still soothing his mind. There is no rush. The work in the fields can wait. Before heading outside, he takes a simple cloak and drapes it over his shoulders. The thick woolen fabric, already worn by time, does not impede his movement, but offers him a slight comfort against the morning chill. He closes the door of the house softly, without making a sound, as if to respect the stillness that still permeates the village. As he goes out into the field, he feels the cold ground beneath his bare feet. The clay, still a little damp from the night, gives him a feeling of freshness and renewal. Each step is taken with the tranquility of someone who is not running, but walking with the calm rhythm of the earth. The field in front of him is vast and peaceful, with rows of plants carefully arranged, but in no hurry to grow. Nature follows its course without haste. The farmer, in turn, knows that this is exactly the rhythm that the earth demands, a sedenichimi, daily care without any urgency. The work in the fields is simple, but every movement is a reflection of the love and respect the farmer has for the land. He kneels before his crops, his firm, calloused hands touching the cold earth. Each grain of soil he lifts with his hands is treated as a piece of life that he shares with the soil. There is no rush to prepare the land for the next harvest, but rather a calm dedication to the task. He prepares the land with slow, almost meditative movements, with an eye for the small details. The green leaves emerging from the soil, the soft sound of the shovel, the touch of the earth on his hands. All of this is part of a simple, natural process that is done with patience. The farmer breathes deeply, smelling the moist soil. He looks at the horizon, at the trees that are beginning to light up as the sun rises higher in the sky. The soft light that falls on the field paints a picture of tranquility. He is in no hurry to finish his work. He knows that the work in the field is continuous, but that each day the cycle of nature will complete itself in its own time. He is not in a hurry either. He feels part of that process. As he works, the sound of the wind in the trees reaches his ears. The gentle breeze passes through the branches and leaves, creating a sound so calm that it seems to emanate from deep within the earth. He closes his eyes for a moment, absorbing the sound. It feels like a lulling song, as if nature is gently whispering to him, reminding him that there is no need to rush the pace of life. Time, at that moment, is not an enemy. There is no clock counting the hours or pressuring him to do it faster. Time is his companion, and he watches it patiently. With each passing minute, the land he works seems to give him something in return, not in a hurry, but with the patience of someone who knows that everything happens when the time is right. Work on the land is done with love, with care, with tranquility. The farmer stands up, shaking the dirt from his hands, and looks once more at the field that stretches out before him. He sees the carrot patch, the wheat that still needs tending, and the fruit trees that are beginning to ripen. Each plant, each sprout, has its own story, and he feels that he is part of that story. He walks slowly to the edge of the field where the stream flows gently, passing over the stones with a calmness that reflects his own state of mind. The water, crystal clear and pure, brings with it the freshness of nature. He crouches down by the stream and dips his hands into the cold water, feeling the current touching his skin with a gentleness that makes him smile. There is no rush. The water follows its course without rushing to get anywhere. The farmer, with his hands immersed in the water, feels renewed, as if each drop of water that passes through his hands brings with it a feeling of renewal and harmony with the world. He observes the flow of the water, the constant and calm movement, and thinks about the continuity of life, unhurried, but always in motion. He lets the water run through his fingers, feeling the purity of the moment. There is no need to rush. The field, the work, the water, the earth, everything follows its own rhythm. The farmer stands up and begins walking back to the field. His steps are firm but calm. He has the feeling that he is exactly where he is supposed to be. The field is still waiting for his attention, but he knows that he does not need to rush to fulfill his obligations. Everything has its time, and in its time, he will do what is necessary. He is part of this land, and the land, in turn, sustains him. The cycle of life, the dance between man and nature, continues unhurriedly, but with indescribable beauty. As he walks back to the house, the sun begins to warm the air. The trees, now completely illuminated by the golden light, seem to breathe with it. The wind continues to gently pass through the leaves, and the sound of the stream in the background is a constant reminder that nature follows its course calmly and peacefully. The farmer feels grateful for everything around him. He's no longer racing against time. He is simply living it as calmly as possible. The peasant, now back home after his time in the fields, feels that time is not rushing him yet. The day continues its course, but smoothly, like a stream of water that moves slowly without agitation. He looks at his simple house with its mud walls and thatched roof and feels immense gratitude for this refuge. There are no luxuries here, just the essentials, but that is enough. He knows that each piece of wood, each clay brick has its story, and together they form a home that, although simple, is warm and safe. The daily routine is made up of small gestures, but these gestures have a profound meaning. The farmer begins feeding the animals with the same calmness with which he began the day. With each stepi, he feels that he is more in tune with what the land needs. There is no rush to finish the task. Each animal, each movement is treated with care and attention. He feeds the goats fresh hay, scatters corn for the chickens, and makes sure that all the animals have what they need before moving on to the next task. The smell of fresh hay and wood burning in the fireplace fills the house as he moves from one side to the other, touching everything with the same lightness that the wind touches the leaves of the trees. He does not rush to finish, but simply does the work with the ease of one who knows that peace lies in the process, not in the completion. Time here is not something to be mastered or controlled, but something that is experienced in each act, no matter how simple. Work is not done as an obligation, but as a natural part of the daily cycle. The peasant knows that if he gives his full attention to the task, the work will be done more satisfyingly, more fully. He feels the sun rising higher in the sky. But despite this, the warmth is still gentle, as if nature itself is settling into the calm rhythm of the day. The wind continues to pass through the trees, creating a soft melody that seems to accompany their movement. The sound of the leaves, the bird's song, and the occasional rustle of the grass blend together, creating a calm music, as if everything around is in harmony with the rhythm of work. There is no shrill sound, no noise that disturbs the serenity of the moment. Everything seems to flow smoothly. With each passing moment, the farmer feels more connected to the nature around him. He's not just doing the work, but integrating himself into it as an essential part of the cycle of life. He picks up his hoe and begins to work the earth with the same calmness with which he woke up. There is no rush. He feels the soil, which, still damp in the morning, adapts easily to the hoe. He works meticulously, caring for each piece of land with the attention it deserves. There is no rush, just a calm flow, as if he is dancing with the earth, each movement an expression of his connection to the world around him. The pace of work is calming. The peasant does not think about the future or the past. He is simply there in the present moment, carrying out his tasks with profound serenity. Every grain of earth that comes loose from the hoe, every step taken, every breath taken, is a silent meditation, an acceptance of the natural flow of things. He does not need to fight against anything. Work is part of who he is, and the nature around him is the guide that leads him. Without haste, without imp. When he finishes one of his tasks, he takes a moment to look around, to appreciate what he has accomplished. The field before him is tidier, the soil more prepared for future crops, but he does not feel the weight of the work. He feels a lightness, a sense of quiet satisfaction, as if the work had been part of a dance with the world. He feels at peace, knowing that the cycle of nature continues unhurriedly, and that he, as part of that cycle, is doing his part. He moves with the same calm to the next task, which is to go to the well to fetch water. The sound of the water hitting the wood of the bucket is soft. The sound of the rope dragging slowly along the pulley is comforting. The water he draws from the bottom of the well feels fresh and revitalizing. He carries the bucket to the house and carefully places it on the ground. There is no rush, just the calmness of someone who knows that time is something that should be lived and not rushed. As he works, the sky becomes clearer. The heat of the day becomes more evident, but the farmer does not rush. He follows the natural rhythm of things. He has become accustomed to living according to nature's timing. There is no rush, no hurry. Everything falls into place naturally without effort. The farmer knows that at the end of the day, he will have done his part, but not with urgency. He will simply be part of this cycle, part of life, and this brings him a peace that few can understand. And so, as the day goes on, the farmer continues his routine, each moment an expression of his inner peace and his connection with the world around him. He works with the serenity of someone who understands that the value of work lies in the experience, not the result. Every breath, every gesture, every movement made in harmony with nature is what gives him satisfaction, and this tranquility, this feeling of being in tune with the flow of life is what really matters. There is no rush, the world is calm, and with that he feels at peace. As the midday heat approaches, the farmer takes a moment to stop and simply breathe. He looks out over the field before him, and everything seems to breathe along with him. The scent of the still damp earth, mixed with the fresh scent of the plants and the light touch of the dry grass in the wind, is deep and comforting. Each of these scents carries with it a piece of the land's history, a piece of nature's silent work that repeats itself every year. Serenely and patiently, he takes a deep breath, feeling the fragrance of the earth, of the wheat beginning to ripen, and of the herbs growing in the corners of the field. The aroma is subtle but at the same time intense, as if the earth were speaking to him, revealing its most intimate secrets. Each breath seems to bring him closer to nature, more integrated with the world around him. The farmer feels that he is part of this cycle, part of the land that sustains him, and he surrenders to this connection with a tranquility that only nature can provide. The wind, gently blowing through the trees and crops, carries with it the scent of the countryside, mingling with the fragrance of the wildflowers that bloom along the edges of the plantation. The farmer smiles, realizing how the countryside never stops offering something to those who are willing to pay attention. Each season, each moment of the year, brings with it new scents, new sounds, and new colors. There is no rush in nature. The land grows in its own time. The flowers bloom when the time is right, and the countryside is cultivated with patience and care, like a good friend who has known it for many years. As the farmer walks through the fields, he needs nothing else. The aromas of the earth, the colors of the countryside, the sound of the wind moving through the leaves of the trees, all of this fills him. There is no need to seek outside what he already has within himself. Nature, with all its tranquility, already gives him what he needs to feel complete. Every little detail of the countryside is a reminder of how simple and peaceful life can offer so much. He stops for a moment and looks at the trees, which are now much greener, with their leaves that capture the sun's rays and transform them into life. The scent of the fresh leaves is strong, but at the same time sweet, and he cannot resist approaching them to touch their leaves. The peasant's calloused hands touch the leaves gently, as if he were greeting an old friend. The trees, which have been rooted in the earth for so long, seem to share with him the wisdom of many years, as if he can hear, in the softness of the wind that passes through them, the stories of all the seasons. The scent of the countryside envelops him like a soft, welcoming blanket, and he closes his eyes for a moment just to feel it. This sensation is of being in total harmony with the world around him. There is no more worry, no more anxiety. He is part of this infinite cycle, part of the earth, the wind, the sunlight. Everything fits together perfectly, and at the center of it all is him, a simple man, his bare feet touching the earth, his calloused hands caressing the leaves of the trees. He feels a deep peace, a sense of belonging, as if he has found his place in the world. The farmer breathes again, feeling the scent of nature seeping into his lungs. he allows himself a moment to pause, not in a hurry to go anywhere. The countryside, with its silent vastness, is more than just a physical space. It is a place of renewal, of connection with what is essential. The scent of the countryside is just one of the many gifts the land offers, but it is the one the farmer cherishes most. He feels that the smell of the earth and the plants, the touch of the gentle breeze and the distant sound of the stream are the most precious treasures he could receive. After a long sigh, he realizes that the sun is already higher, and that the day continues to unfold without haste, without any urgency. He knows that there is more work to be done, but there is no need to rush. Work is part of what he does, but he is not defined by it. The peasant knows that what matters in the end is the tranquility of the present moment. He smiles again, grateful for the simplicity that life offers him. There is no need for more than that, just the land, the air, the countryside, and the tranquility they bring. He begins to walk back to the house, his steps still soft, as if he doesn't want to disturb the peace that surrounds him. The scent of the countryside is still in his nose, in his clothes, in his hair. Each breath brings with it a little more of that peace, of that connection with the simple, serene world in which he lives. There are no more worries, no more urgency, just the countryside, the wind, and the earth, offering him everything he needs to be happy. The farmer knows that, as the weeks pass, the harvest is approaching. But unlike the hasty worries that many would experience when thinking about the future, he faces what is to come with a calm heart and a peaceful mind. He is not distressed by the uncertainties of the harvest, for he understands that the earth has its own rhythms and its own wisdom. Everything happens when the time is right, and he trusts that by tending the earth patiently, it will give him what he needs. He sits at the edge of the field, his hands resting gently on his thighs. The field before him is in full growth, the green of the plant spreading across every inch of the land, creating a spectacle of soft, tranquil colors. He watches the leaves of the plant sway in the breeze, each one moving with the gentleness of the wind, as if in tune with the weather itself. The sight of the growing field, the seeds that have become sprouts and now small plants, brings him a sense of peace. He knows that the cycle is doing its part, and he is doing his part too. There is no despair in his heart, no anxiety about the quantity of grain or the quality of the harvest. Instead, he allows himself to watch, attentively and lovingly, the growth of each plant. The wheat, which begins to bend gently under the weight of the grain, is growing in its own time. The carrots and beets, which he planted with such care, are beginning to show signs of ripening. He can even see the gleaming fruit on the trees, which, although not yet ready for harvest, indicate that the effort of the past months has been worth it. And it is with gratitude that he observes each of these signs, knowing that, although the harvest depends on many factors, he has already done his part, and now it is time to calmly wait. The peasant touches the wheat blades with his fingertips, feeling their soft and rough texture at the same time. He feels the heat of the sun now stronger on his skin, but it does not bother him. The heat is gentle, and he takes a deep breath, letting the warm afternoon air envelop him. He looks at the horizon, at the distant mountains that seem to wrap the village in a silent embrace. The sky, stretching above his head, is tinged with blue, and the clouds seem to float slowly, without any hurry. This peaceful view, this vastness of colors and simple shapes, brings him a sense of fulfillment. He knows that the land is offering him the best it can, but he also knows that harvesting is a process, and like everything in life, it happens at the right time. There is no need to force the growth of the plants, to rush the ripening of the fruit. The farmer understands that nature has its own rhythm, a rhythm that is perfect in its simplicity. He closes his eyes for a moment, letting the wind touch his face, The sound of the trees swaying in the wind seems to envelop him, like a soft song from a time long past. Each breath seems slower, deeper, as if he is connecting even more with the world around him. He feels the deep peace that comes from this quiet acceptance of time and nature. There is no anxiety, no rush, just the calm that the countryside and the earth offered. The farmer stands up gently and begins walking through the fields again. Each step he takes is taken with a simple purpose: to observe, to care for, to respect. He approaches the plants, touching the leaves of the carrots, feeling the softness of the grasses that grow at the edges of the field. He crouches down to look more closely at the growth of the roots that are hidden beneath the earth. His connection with the land is deep, and he knows that by caring for it, he is caring for himself. The field and the man both depend on each other, and this simple, balanced relationship is what brings true peace. As he continues to walk, the farmer feels a sense of gratitude for everything the land gives him. Every plant that grows, every leaf that moves, every flower that blooms is a gift. He does not feel the weight of responsibility, but the joy of being part of this cycle. He knows that the field will be good in the end, not because he has done everything perfectly, but because he has done his best, done his part with patience and love. He looks once more at the field before him. The wheat, which begins to bend under the weight of the grains, is a clear sign that his work has not been in vain. The earth, with its softness and strength, calmly and serenely returns to him everything he offers it. He knows that the harvest will soon come, but for now, he is content with the simple pleasure of watching the plants grow and bloom in their own time. And so, with a peaceful smile on his lips, the farmer returns to his home, feeling at peace with all that the land offers him. There is no rush. The work in the fields will be done when the time is right. And until that time comes, he surrenders to the simplicity of the present moment, feeling grateful for the connection he has with the world around him. The future can wait. Right now, he is just a part of the calm, peaceful rhythm of the land, and that in itself is enough. With the midday heat reaching its peak, the farmer decides it is time to take a break. The work in the fields is done with dedication and serenity, but even the most peaceful days require moments of rest, and he knows this. He looks around and finds a sturdy tree at the edge of the field. Its leaves are dense and green, offering a deep and welcoming shade that catches his attention like a silent invitation to rest. Unhurriedly, the farmer begins to walk slowly towards the tree. Each step he takes is an extension of his tranquility, a reminder that time can be savored, not rushed. When he reaches the base of the tree, he sits down softly, letting the gentle afternoon breeze pass through his face and hair. The sound of the wind in the leaves mixes with the distant song of a few birds that still sing as if to celebrate the moment of stillness he has found. He leans back against the tree trunk, feeling the texture of the bark cool and firm against his back. The tree, with its solid and eternal presence, seems to offer him a feeling of deep welcome. He breathes slowly, closing his eyes for a moment, allowing the calm of the environment to envelop him. The warmth of the sun still comes gently through the leaves, but the shade of the tree creates a feeling of freshness and relief. The rhythm of nature, always constant and serene, is in tune with his breathing. The farmer feels lightness in his body, a contrast to the continuous work he does every day. But he does not feel tired in an uncomfortable way, as if the work were a burden. He feels physical tiredness, but it is a good kind of tiredness, a tiredness that comes from a day well spent, from a job well done. Nature, with its unshakable calm, seems to teach him the importance of slowing down. Rest is not just a pause, but an opportunity to reconnect with the world around him. to absorb the serenity he finds in the simple things. He looks at the fields around him, which continue to grow at their own pace. The trees in the distance, with their green leaves and strong trunks, seem to watch him with the same serenity. He smiles softly, recognizing the silent connection he has with them. They, like him, follow their own cycles. They grow, they bloom, and when the time is right, they say goodbye to their leaves, only to sprout again with the arrival of spring. They live without haste, without the urgency that most people experience in the modern world. And he, here, in the shade of this tree, feels that, for a moment, he is one of them. The wind gently blows through the leaves of the tree, creating a sound that is like a peaceful song. There is no rush. There is nothing he needs to do except enjoy the peace of the moment. He takes a deep breath, smelling the fresh earth mixed with the scent of the leaves. There is something comforting about the way nature envelops his senses, as if the world is offering him its own calm and balance. The peasant closes his eyes for a moment longer, and for an instant he feels almost part of the environment around him. The tree, the field, the wind, everything seems to merge into a silent, peaceful dance. There is no more rush, no more worries, just the present, with its stillness, with its natural rhythm. He allows himself to rest for a few more minutes, not rushing to get back to work. He knows the field is there, waiting for him to return, but there is no need to rush anything. The work will be done when the time is right. Now is the time to rest, to recharge his batteries for what will come later. He allows the sound of the wind, the smell of the earth, and the sight of the field before him to completely envelop him. The farmer thinks of the many times over the years he has sat beneath trees like this. In each moment of rest, he has found something new, a new sense of connection, of peace. He knows that as long as the land and the trees continue to grow, he will always be able to find this rest, this tranquility in this simple, serene space. When he finally gets up to return to the field, he feels renewed. The rest in the shade of the tree was brief, but enough. He smiles at the tree, silently thanking it for its shade and its patience. There are no words, just a feeling of gratitude. He walks away with the light, quiet steps that marked his rest, ready to continue his work, but now with renewed energy, with the calm that comes from accepting nature and the serenity it offers. As the farmer finishes his break in the shade of the tree and prepares to return to work, he realizes that the day is drawing to a close. The sun, now lower in the sky, begins to cast long shadows over the fields, tinging the landscape with a golden hue that lends a magical air to the environment. The calm of the afternoon still remains, but there is a growing softness, a transition to the tranquility of the evening. He slowly gets up, feeling the lightness of rest in his body, and begins to walk back to the village. The sound of his footsteps, soft on the earthen ground, is the only sound that breaks the deep silence of the countryside. The earth seems to breathe with him, as if thanking him for his care. The peasant looks at the countryside one last time before turning the corner of the hill and seeing the village in the distance. He observes the houses with their mud walls and thatched roofs, small and simple, but welcoming. The rhythm of life in the village is calm, and he feels that the village, like the nature around him, moves in tune with him. Every sound, every gesture, every movement has its place and time. The distant sound of the village reaches his ears softly. He can hear, in the distance, the voice of someone talking, the muffled sound of a hammer hitting wood, the murmur of a child playing. These are low, peaceful sounds that do not interrupt the silence, but rather complete it, as if the village were breathing together with nature. There is no rush in the sound. There is no agitation. Everything happens calmly, effortlessly. The peasant smiles softly to himself, content to live in a place where life goes on so calmly. He knows every sound, every movement. He knows that the afternoon is turning into night, and that soon the stars will shine in the sky, marking the end of another day. He feels part of this rhythm, without rushing, without expectations, just living what the day offers him. The walk back to his house is silent, but not lonely. Nature accompanies him, the wind caressing his clothes and the scent of fresh earth filling his lungs. He feels a deep peace, as if the world around him is telling him to relax, to simply be. There is no rush to get anywhere. He knows that when he gets home, dinner will be waiting, simple and comforting, and rest will come naturally. But for now, he allows himself to be present with every step of the way, every breath, every sound. It is all part of this great cycle of life. Upon arriving home, he finds the wooden door open, and the smell of a simple soup made with fresh vegetables reaches his nose. The soft light from the fireplace illuminates the room, creating a cozy atmosphere. Life in the village continues at its serene pace, with no rush to end the day. The peasant approaches a table and sits down, feeling grateful for another day of quiet work and another moment of peace. The hot soup is comforting, and he savors each spoonful with the tranquility of someone who knows that happiness lies in the small moments of life. As he eats, he looks out the window, watching the sky gradually darken. The first stars begin to appear, one by one, as if the sky were getting ready for the night. The sound of the wind is still soft, and the village seems to be plunged into a deep calm, as if the world is preparing to rest. The peasant knows that the night will bring with it the rest he deserves. He feels at peace, knowing that everything is exactly as it should be. The day has come to an end, but he does not feel sad about it. On the contrary, he feels gratitude for every moment he has lived, for every calm breath, for every calm step he has taken. When he finishes his meal, he gets up and begins to prepare for the night. He turns off the light in the fireplace, feeling the gentle warmth of the flames slowly die out. The house is simple, but it is his, and this brings him a sense of security and peace. He lies down on his straw bed with the same tranquility with which he began the day. There is no rush, there is no anxiety. He knows that rest will come with the same gentleness as the day that has passed. With his eyes closed, he surrenders to the soft sounds of the night. The wind continues to blow through the trees, and the distant sounds of the village seem to blend with the peaceful silence. He breathes deeply, feeling at one with the world around him. There is no need for anything else. He is exactly where he needs to be, living each moment calmly, without rushing, without worries. And so, as the night settles in, he lets himself be carried away by the peaceful rest, knowing that tomorrow the cycle will begin again, but without rushing, without urgency, just with the serene continuity of life. The sun is now lower in the sky, and the golden afternoon light takes over everything around, as if nature itself were preparing the field for the night's rest. The farmer, now feeling like he has done a job well, walks once more to the field where the rows of corn stretch to the horizon, green and vigorous. The earth beneath his feet seems to thank him for every step he takes, and the gentle breeze coming from the direction of the hills brings with it the aroma of the plants and the warm earth, like a welcoming embrace from nature. The work in the cornfields is meticulous but peaceful. The ears of corn, which are beginning to form on the plants, are tended to with the patience of someone who knows that harvesting is not something to be rushed. The farmer walks among the plants, watching the leaves that move slowly in the wind, touching them with his hands with the gentleness of someone who knows that each leaf has its role in that great cycle of life. He checks the ears calmly, feeling the tips of each one, checking to see if they are ripe enough for harvesting, but not in a hurry to remove them. He crouches down next to a plant, touching the soil around the base of the corn. The soil is firm, but not dry. There is still enough moisture to support the growth of the plants. He feels in tune with the earth at this moment, as if he is listening to its signals, feeling the rhythm of the plant's growth like a soft music that plays as the days pass. He knows that eventually the ears will be ready for harvest, but he respects the time it takes for nature to do its part, and as the plants grow, he continues to tend them patiently without rushing. The farmer stands up and looks around, observing the cornfield attentively. He sees the plants growing, the leaves opening towards the sun, and the ears of corn beginning to take shape. He does not feel any kind of anxiety. On the contrary, he feels gratitude. Gratitude for the land that offers its fruits, for nature that follows its course without haste, without pressure. He smiles to himself, knowing that when the right moment comes, he will be ready to harvest the corn. But for now, he just enjoys the growth, the slow and steady movement of the plants, the beauty of each leaf moving in the wind. The sounds of the fields around him are soft and soothing, the wind rustling through the leaves, the birds singing their quiet songs, and the sound of the earth being touched by his hands. All of these contribute to the sense of peace he feels. He knows that the work is not rushed, that the harvest will come in due time, and that he need do nothing more than tend the land with respect and patience. The corn, like the other crops, will grow at the pace that nature dictates. He walks through the rows once more, feeling the satisfaction of knowing that he is doing his part. There is no need for more. He has already planted the seeds. He has already tended the land, and now it is up to nature to do its work. The tranquility that comes from this understanding is comforting. He knows that the cycle is completed, that the corn at the right time will be harvested and will bring life to his home, to his village. There is no rush, no fear, just the confidence that his work will be rewarded when the time is right. With one more look at the rows of corn, he decides it is time to head back home. The sun is beginning to set behind the hills, painting the sky with the soft colors of dusk. The fields, although full of life, are already beginning to prepare for the night's rest. He feels a deep peace as he looks at the fields, the earth, and the plants around him. There's nothing more he needs to do now, nothing more than wait patiently for the next cycle. The simple, peaceful daily work is what sustains him, and he is in tune with that. When he gets home, he allows himself a moment to pause, looking up at the sky that is beginning to fill with stars. The night, with its deep calm, brings a sense of completion to his day. He knows that when he wakes, the cycle will begin again. The corn will continue to grow, the land will continue to provide his sustenance, and he will continue to work with the same quiet patience. There is no rush, just the steady rhythm of life unfolding smoothly, day after day. The farmer arrives home with slower steps, now completely relaxed after another day of peaceful work in the fields. The sky around him, now tinged orange and pink by the sunset, seems to make the whole world calm down. There is no rush, no desire to rush time. The day is coming to an end, and the farmer, with his simple and tired body, knows that it is time to rest, but also to enjoy the warmth of the home that awaits him. He opens the wooden door carefully, without making any noise, as if he didn't want to disturb the calm that hangs over the room. The smell of the fire in the fireplace is already beginning to fill the air, soft and welcoming, bringing with it the promise of a peaceful night. The fireplace crackles softly, the flames dancing and casting a warm light that spreads across the clay walls of the house. The sound of the fire, combined with the soft crackling of the wood, creates a serene melody, like a whisper from the world itself, inviting him to relax. The peasant approaches the fireplace, takes off his boots, and sits down by the fire. He stretches his tired legs to feel the warmth rising from the flame. The fire, with its golden light, creates a cozy atmosphere where he can completely relax. There is no rush to do anything, no need to look for something else. The workday is already complete, and now is the time to slow down, to simply be. He watches the flames, how they dance and move in an almost hypnotic way, reflecting the tranquility of the environment. The light from the fire projects soft shadows on the walls, creating a play of light and darkness that seems to calm the environment even more. The heat emanating from the embers warms his body and soul, bringing a feeling of deep comfort. The house is simple, but for him, it is a true refuge. The fireplace, with its gentle fire, is the heart of the house, and there he finds the rest he so longs for after a day of work on the land. As the fire continues to burn, the peasant allows himself to simply gaze into the flames for a moment, silently reflecting on the day that has passed. He feels a lightness in his heart, a sense of peace that comes from simply accepting his life. Each day is lived with purpose, but without haste, without anxiety. He needs nothing more. The land, the countryside, the simple food on the table, and the warmth of the fire are enough for him. The warmth of the fireplace warms more than just his body. It warms his soul, which finds a well-deserved rest in this peaceful moment. The house is silent, but this silence is not empty. It is a silence filled with the soft sound of the fire, with the peace of a day well spent, with the relief of work that has been done with dedication. The farmer breathes deeply, letting the warm air from the fire fill his lungs. He knows that however simple his life may be, it is full of moments of beauty and calm. He silently gives thanks for the life he leads, for the simplicity that the land provides him, and for the refuge that his home offers. The crackling of the fire is constant, a silent reminder that the day has ended and the night can now begin. The peasant takes a simple bowl of soup he prepared earlier and begins to savor it slowly, allowing the warmth of the food to mingle with the warmth of the fire. There is no rush to eat, no rush to finish. The food, made with simple ingredients, has a flavor that comforts him in a unique way. Each spoonful is a quiet pleasure, and he indulges in it gratefully. As he eats, the house grows quieter. The fire continues to burn softly, and the fields outside begin to be enveloped in the darkness of night. The farmer knows that the day cycle has come to an end, but he feels no sadness. There is a quiet satisfaction in ending the day, knowing that all that needed to be done has been done. The work has been completed, the rest has been gained, and now, as night falls, he surrenders to the natural rhythm of the world. He finishes his soup, sets the bowl aside, and leans back further in his chair, feeling the warmth of the fire enveloping his body. There is no rush to go to bed, no urgency. He lets the silence and warmth of the fire envelop him as his eyes slowly begin to close. The sound of the fire, the gentle warmth, and the peace he feels are all he needs to relax deeply. He knows that the night will bring the rest his body and mind need. The fields and the earth, with their steady rhythm, will be there tomorrow, awaiting his attention. But now is the time to rest. And so, with the soft sound of the fire and the comfort of his simple home, the peasant drifts off to a peaceful sleep, knowing that the day that has passed has been lived serenely without haste. The field, the land, the fire, and the peace he feels in his home are all he needs. The cycle of life continues, but for now he can rest, knowing that everything is in its right place. The evening settles quietly around the house, and the peasant, already relaxed by the warmth of the fireplace, gets up to prepare his evening meal. The simplicity of the dinner is a reflection of the tranquility he seeks in his daily life. There is no rush, no complication in the process. Country life teaches us to appreciate simple and valuable things, such as fresh food harvested from our own land. He heads to the small wooden pantry, where the vegetables he has grown are carefully stored. A golden pumpkin, freshly picked potatoes, and a few carrots are on today's menu. There is no need for complex seasonings or elaborate recipes. The essence of food lies in its simplicity. He chops the vegetables calmly, feeling the texture of the knife as it glides smoothly through the fresh flesh of the pumpkins and carrots. The sound of the blade cutting through the skin is soft, almost meditative. Each movement is done with care and patience. The farmer knows that simple food, prepared with care, is enough to sustain his body and bring him comfort. The fire in the fireplace continues to crackle softly in the background, its light dancing on the walls of the house, creating soft shadows that fill the room with a sense of warmth. He places the cut vegetables in the already heated iron pot and watches the steam begin to rise as the water begins to boil. The smell that begins to spread through the house is comforting. The fragrance of cooking pumpkin mixed with the softness of potatoes and carrots brings to mind a sense of welcome. The farmer breathes deeply, allowing himself to enjoy the moment. There is no rush for dinner to be ready. He knows that the food will be prepared at its own pace, and he takes advantage of the pause to simply exist in the moment. As dinner cooks, he sits back at the table, staring into the fire. The warmth of the flame is still comforting, and the house feels like a safe haven, a space where he can completely relax after working in the fields. There is no one rushing him, no external demands, just the peace of the present moment. He allows himself a deep sigh, as if silently thanking himself for the opportunity to live this simple but full life. The soft sound of water bubbling in the pot and the rustling of the flames in the fireplace are the only sounds that fill the house. There is something deeply soothing about this silence, something that connects him even more with nature and country life. He knows that the work he has done during the day, though simple, has been meaningful. And now, as dinner finishes being prepared, he can savor the peace that comes from knowing he has done everything that was needed. He stands up again as the smell of food begins to fill the room more intensely, and with a calm smile, he turns off the fire in the fireplace, leaving only the soft embers that still remain. Dinner is ready, and this simple but nutritious food is waiting for him. He serves himself calmly, placing the potatoes, pumpkins, and carrots on his plate with a generous dose of gratitude. There is no rush to eat, no rush to finish. Each bite of food is an opportunity to connect even more with the present moment. As he eats, he gazes out at the countryside, now shrouded in the darkness of night, with the stars beginning to shine in the sky. The simple meal, accompanied by silence and tranquility, brings him a deep sense of satisfaction. He knows that food comes not only from the physical effort of work, but from the bond he has with the land. With each simple dish he prepares, he feels a connection with the cycle of nature and the fruits it provides in its own time. Dinner is over, and the farmer is filled with gratitude, not just for the food, but for the life he leads. He needs nothing more. The simplicity of the day, from dawn to evening meal, is all he desires. He allows himself a moment to pause, to reflect quietly on the day that has passed, on what the land has given him, and what he has been able to accomplish. After the meal, he clears the table calmly, without rushing. Every gesture, every movement is done with the tranquility that he has learned to cultivate over the years. The house, now silent, seems to envelop him in its peace. The peasant, with a relaxed body and a calm mind, heads to his straw bed, feeling grateful for the simplicity of his life. He knows that tomorrow will be another day of work in the fields, but for now, he can surrender to rest, knowing that life will unfold with the same calm rhythm. Lying in his bed, he closes his eyes, letting himself be lulled by the soft sound of the wind outside and the rustling of the leaves in the trees. Night has now completely settled in, and with a peaceful heart, he knows that tomorrow will bring another cycle, another opportunity to live simply, peacefully, and deeply connected to the earth. Night has come with its deep calm, covering the village with a blanket of silence. The peasant, now lying in his simple bed, feels at peace, enveloped by the comfort of his house made of clay and wood. The heat from the fireplace, which still glows softly in the embers, seems to continue to warm the room, but the house is now plunged into a comforting stillness. There is no rush. The world outside is silent, except for the soft sounds of nature that continue to define the rhythm of time. The peasant slowly closes his eyes, allowing himself to relax completely. The sound of the wind in the trees outside is soft and distant, almost like a lullaby that lulls the night. The sound of the leaves swaying, the rustling of the branches as they are touched by the cool night breeze, seems to match the rhythm of his breathing. Each exhale is slower, deeper, as if he is merging with the tranquility of the soft moonlight begins to shine through the clay window of the house, creating soft shadows on the walls. The stars in the sky outside shine with special clarity, illuminating the landscape with their silvery light. Everything is calm. Everything is at peace. There is no rush. There's nothing to be done. The peasant surrenders himself to this silence, to this moment of serenity, knowing that the day is over and that now is the time for rest, for recovery. He hears the sound of the fire slowly dying in the grate, the last crackling embers going out one by one, while the heat from the fire dissipates throughout the house. There is no more need for light, no more need for heat. Darkness is present, but it is not a darkness that frightens or causes discomfort. It is welcoming, peaceful, as if time itself is breathing gently with him. The house, the field, the sky, everything seems to be in harmony with his inner tranquility. With a sigh, the peasant settles further into the straw bed, feeling the softness of the blankets that envelop him. He knows that the land, the field, and the village will continue to exist peaceful and unhurried while he rests. There are no worries about tomorrow, no anxieties about what will come. Tomorrow will simply be another day in the great cycle of life, a cycle that repeats itself with the gentleness of nature. He feels that he is immersed in this cycle, part of it naturally and serenely. He closes his eyes, allowing sleep to come slowly. There is no need to rush. Rest comes like a gentle wave that envelops him. Gradually, the sound of the wind, the feeling of being safe in his home, the residual warmth of the fireplace, all of this creates a sense of deep well-being. He surrenders to sleep with the tranquility of someone who knows that in the world of nature, everything happens in its own time. The night proceeds serenely. The farmer, now completely relaxed, lets himself drift off into a deep sleep, knowing that he is exactly where he needs to be. The field outside, with its plants and trees, sleeps with him. The sound of the wind in the leaves, the distant chirping of a cricket, are the only sounds that fill the night. There is no rush, no agitation. The night is made for rest, and the farmer finally finds the peace that prepares him for another day of quiet work when dawn arrives. The hours pass slowly, and the night advances with infinite calm. The peasant sleeps peacefully, immersed in the quiet rhythms of the countryside and nature. And while he rests, the earth continues its cycle. The stars shine softly in the sky, and the village, with its simplicity and serenity, continues in silence, waiting for the dawn. The countryside is now sleeping under the veil of night. The plants that he cared for during the day are resting, their leaves quiet and serene, immersed in the peace of darkness. The animals, too, rest under the cover of night, the goats and chickens quiet in their stables and coops. The sound of the wind in the trees is the only sign that the night is alive, that the cycle of life continues to happen, but without haste, without agitation. Everything follows the rhythm of nature, calm and peaceful, waiting for the new day that will slowly approach. The peasant, immersed in the silence and peace of the night, feels part of this whole cycle. He knows that at dawn, the earth will welcome him again. But for now, all is rest, all is calm. He lets sleep envelop him completely, his thoughts dissolving into the stillness of the night. There are no more worries, no more tasks to be done. The world, for a moment, is on pause. The peasant, in his peaceful sleep, lets himself be guided by the serenity of the moment, by the rhythm of life that sustains him. He feels, at last, that he is where he was always meant to be, connected to the earth, to nature, to the quiet rhythm of the world around him. He rests, and with each deep breath, he lets himself drift into a deep, restorative rest. There is no rush, no urgency, just the calm of the night, the peace of the earth, and the calm continuity of life that will unfold the next day with the gentleness of a new morning. As the night deepens and the moon shines brighter in the sky, the village, still shrouded in its silent mantle, begins to warm up with the soft light of the fireplaces. The peasant, who has had enough rest and has found comfort in the warmth of his home, approaches his neighbors. The simple but cozy clay houses are all lit by the soft light of the flames, and the warmth of the fireplace draws everyone together to meet and exchange quiet stories. In the village, evenings are marked by this peaceful tradition. There is no rush to leave, no rush to gather. Each gathering is done calmly, without expectations, just the pleasure of being in the company of others. People sit around the fireplaces with smiles on their faces, and the sounds of conversation mingle with the crackling of the flames. The sound of the burning wood and the gentle heat of the embers make the environment welcoming and safe. The peasant arrives at his neighbor's house, an elderly man with white hair and a kind smile. He greets him with a nod, a simple gesture that means more than words. In the village, there is no need for great formalities. Relationships are based on simple gestures, on looks that say all that is necessary. They sit together near the fireplace, and the elderly man begins to tell a story about the old days, about life in the countryside when he was younger. His voice is soft, and the rhythm of his words seems to follow the rhythm of the fire. Slow and peaceful, the peasant listens attentively, in no hurry for the story to end. He knows that stories have their time, that each word spoken has a meaning, and he does not want to miss a single moment of this exchange. With each sentence, he feels more connected to that moment, to that story, to that past that seems to extend to the present without interruption. The fire crackling softly in the fireplace is the only sound that accompanies the man's words. There is no rush to tell the story, nor is there any rush to listen to it. Everything happens smoothly, fluidly. While the old man talks about his youth, the peasant reflects on his own life. He thinks about past harvests, years of work in the fields, the land that has always sustained him. He realizes that, like the old man's story, his life is made up of simple moments, quiet gestures, and silent exchanges. What matters, he realizes, are not the great deeds, but rather those small moments of connection, of peace, of exchange. The old man finishes his story, and there is a pause in the air. The peasant, with a calm smile, nods his thanks. There is no need for words, for the words have already been spoken, and now the silence is present, bringing a comforting peace. The flames continue to dance in the fireplace, and the sound of the fire seems to accompany the silence in a serene way. Other neighbors begin to join the group, and stories continue to be exchanged, but always with the same gentleness, the same slow and peaceful rhythm. Conversations are not rushed, and no one seems to mind the time. Each story is told calmly. Each memory is shared with the same serenity. The night continues its course, with the village immersed in a tranquility that only those who live according to natural rhythms can understand. The peasant, now enveloped by the warmth of the fireplace and the stories shared, feels at peace. He knows that by the end of the evening, each story told will become part of his own memory, just as each simple gesture, each quiet exchange becomes part of his life. There is no rush for the encounter to end. Time seems to stretch out slowly like the flames in the fireplace, and the peasant gives himself completely to the moment without rushing anything. He realizes that in the end, life is made up of these exchanges, these pauses, these moments of calm where words and gestures become meaningful. When the chatter finally begins to die down and the neighbors begin to say goodbye, the peasant feels comforted. He returns to his home, knowing that the tranquility of the evening, the exchange of stories, and the simple gestures are what really matter. There is no rush to go anywhere, no urgency to do anything else. The day is over. The stories have been told, and now it is time to return to the comfort of his home and indulge in some peaceful rest. The peasant awakens gently in the middle of the night, as if his surroundings themselves have called him to wake up. It is not an abrupt or anxious awakening, but one that seems to occur at exactly the right time. He sits up slowly, feeling the weight of the straw blankets around him, which, although simple, give him a sense of warmth and security. The silence of the house is profound but not lonely. There is a sense, a serenity that permeates every corner, as if the space itself is breathing in harmony with the quiet rhythm of the night. In the distance, he hears the soft sound of the wind passing through the trees. The sound is distant but clear, as if nature were whispering its ancient stories. Stories that speak of time, of the growth of trees, of the softness of the earth, and the constant movement of the wind. This sound, which for many would go unnoticed, is for him one of the most comforting sounds that exist. The farmer breathes deeply, letting the fresh night air fill his lungs. He feels an immense calm invade his body, as if the wind, the trees, and the earth itself were inviting him to connect even more deeply with what is around him. The wind is not a hurried or violent sound. It is soft, steady, gently touching the leaves of the trees like a caress from nature. The farmer closes his eyes for a moment, allowing the sound to envelop him completely. He feels the melody of the wind, as if it were made of small pauses and breaths, soft and peaceful. The sound of the wind is like a song that he has learned to listen to attentively, with respect. It is a melody that comes from far away, but that seems to move directly to his heart, as if the wind were sharing with him its own inner peace. He feels the wind outside gently touching the leaves of the trees. The sound of the leaves rustling and rustling, mixed with the movement of the branches that bend gently to the touch of the breeze, fills the night with a gentle rhythm. It is not a hurried or disturbing sound, but a calm cadence that seems to follow the pulse of the earth. The farmer, with his eyes still closed, feels that the wind is part of the cycle of life itself. The wind demands nothing from anyone. It simply follows its path, flowing freely through the trees and the fields, touching everything with its light and serene presence. It is a reminder that everything in the world has its own rhythm, and that by connecting with nature, he can also allow himself to follow this rhythm without rushing. For a moment, the farmer feels a deep sense of belonging, as if the wind were invisibly enveloping him. He knows that the wind, although invisible to the eye, carries something else with its silent wisdom, a calm force that acts unhurriedly without pressure. The farmer slowly opens his eyes, looking out the window that is still half open, allowing the wind to enter the house with a gentleness that is comforting. He observes the sky, which is now filled with stars shining with a special clarity. The countryside, which stretches beyond his house, is quiet, its trees and plants immersed in the peace of the night. The farmer looks at the trees surrounding his house, their dark silhouettes against the starlit sky. He watches as the leaves move slowly in the wind, creating a sound that seems to spread throughout the entire environment. The wind in the trees is like an old friend, someone who accompanies him silently without rushing anything. The farmer feels a deep gratitude for this moment, for being there, in tune with what is simple, with what is natural. He breathes again, letting the sound of the wind and the coolness of the night envelop him, like a cloak of tranquility that brings him calm and serenity. He then realizes that the wind is not just a sound, but a constant presence in his life, something that has always been there, but that he often has not stopped to listen to with such attention. The wind is a reminder that life, however simple it may be, is made up of subtle movements, of cycles that repeat themselves, of passages that happen without haste. The peasant lies down again, settling into the straw bed with a deep sigh, letting himself be lulled by the soft sound of the leaves in the wind. There is nothing else he needs to do. The day has passed, the work has been done serenely, and now it is time to rest. The wind outside continues to dance in the trees, and he lets himself be carried away by the tranquility of its sound, knowing that the night will continue its silent march. The minutes pass slowly, but the peasant does not feel the weight of time. He does not need to rush to sleep, nor worry about what will happen tomorrow. The field, the trees, the wind, everything is in harmony, and he is part of this great cycle. With his eyes closed, he surrenders to rest, feeling the heat of the fireplace slowly dissipating, feeling the coolness of the night coming in through the window, feeling the wind continue its silent dance. He feels at peace, once again immersed in the serenity of the moment, letting himself be carried away by the deep sleep that comes with the calm of the night. The wind in the trees and leaves continues its course, and the peasant, now fast asleep, follows the gentle and steady rhythm of nature, knowing that when he wakes, the day will begin again. But for now, he is part of the stillness of the night. The world moves on unhurriedly, with the gentleness of the wind and the quiet rhythm of rural life. The farmer wakes up before dawn, as usual, with the lightness that accompanies those who are in tune with the rhythm of the earth. The first sound that reaches him is not the sound of a clock or a machine, but the soft murmur of nature awakening, the song of a distant bird, the rustling of leaves being touched by the wind, and the sound of the first drops of dew falling on the plants in the field are the only things that fill the stillness of the morning. He takes a deep breath, feeling the fresh air of dawn that invades his house through the clay window, still half open, allowing the gentle breeze to touch his face. The peasant stretches slowly, feeling the softness of the straw bed that welcomes him every night. He is in no hurry to get up. There is no urgent obligation, no task that calls him immediately. The day has not yet truly begun, and he allows himself a moment of peaceful transition between sleep and wakefulness. He watches the soft morning light that begins to penetrate through the window, tinting the walls of his house with golden and pink tones. There is no agitation in the air, only a deep calm that seems to come from all the elements of nature around him. With a soft sigh, the peasant gets up from his bed, placing his bare feet on the cool clay floor. The dampness of the ground still retains some of the coolness of the night, and the touch of the cool earth beneath his feet brings a feeling of renewal, of immediate connection with the land. He walks calmly to the window and looks out. The countryside, still covered in the soft morning mist, stretches out before him, vast and peaceful. The distant hills are covered in a blanket of mist that makes them seem to float on the horizon, and the sky, now tinged with a soft blue, promises a new day. But without haste, without pressure, the sound of the birds seems to intensify as the morning progresses, but still the rhythm is gentle. There is no rush to start singing, no urgency in the commotion. The birds seem to greet the new day silently, as if they are enjoying each moment of the transition between night and day. The farmer loses himself for a moment in this sound, simply listening to what nature has to say. There is nothing more important at this moment than this silent and serene exchange between him and the world around him. With slow, deep breathing, he begins to prepare himself for the work that awaits him. But it is not a rushed preparation, full of obligations and anxieties. He knows that the day will be lived simply, calmly, and that he can start work at the right time. There is no need to rush. He takes his simple woolen clothes and dresses calmly. The sound of the clothes being put on, the touch of the fibers on his skin, seems to be part of the rhythm of nature itself, a continuation of this peaceful cycle that he experiences every day. He goes to the kitchen and prepares a simple meal. The aroma of the food begins to spread through the house, but it is a soft, comforting aroma that arrives slowly. He chops some roots that he saved from the previous harvest, mixing them with the fresh water he drew from the well. As a fire begins to heat the pot, he sits in silence, feeling the tranquility of the moment. He watches the first rays of sunlight begin to illuminate the fields. The light, soft and golden, spreads slowly, warming the earth and revealing the simple beauty of rural life. The peasant is not immersed in frantic thoughts about the future or worries about what tomorrow will bring. He is fully present in the moment. The day will be what it is, and he will live it calmly, respecting the rhythm of the land and the natural timing of things. There is no need to rush or hurry, because what he does, however simple, already has its value. The food he prepares is simple but nourishing. The taste of the food, made with fresh ingredients from his own fields, is something he deeply values. He feels a quiet gratitude for all that the land provides, for the seeds he planted that have grown, for the roots and shoots that are now part of his diet. He eats slowly, savoring each bite with the same patience and calm with which he cultivates the land. After breakfast, he gets up and heads out into the fields. The sun is already higher in the sky now, bathing everything around him in its soft golden light. The farmer looks out over the horizon at the rows of plants he has tended and feels a deep sense of connection with the land. Every plant, every tree, every patch of soil he works has its own rhythm, its own cycle, and he knows that by following this rhythm, he is in harmony with everything around him. The field does not require haste. He knows that when the right time comes, he will reap the fruits of his labor. But for now, he focuses on the simple act of caring. He feels the roots of the plants with his calloused hands, feels the soil beneath his fingers, and knows that everything has its time. He is in no rush to harvest the plants or see the results immediately. The work in the field is done calmly, respecting the natural cycles, respecting the time the earth needs to produce its fruits. The farmer continues his work, but always with the same serenity, the same calm rhythm that accompanies nature. The gentle wind that passes through the trees seems to accompany him, as if nature itself were smiling at him, telling him that everything is exactly as it should be. He feels at peace, knowing that the day will be another chapter in this continuous cycle, where everything happens at the right time, without rushing, without pressure. the sun begins to slowly descend in the sky, and the farmer finds himself back in the field, contemplating the cycle of the seasons unfolding around him. The heat of the afternoon dissipates and gives way to a soft, refreshing breeze that gently touches his face. The field he tends with such dedication seems to reflect the rhythm of life itself, calm, unhurried, and always in motion. He looks at the plants he began cultivating in the spring, now ripe and ready for harvest, and feels a silent gratitude for all that the field has provided him thus far. The cycles of the seasons, so familiar to him, continue without interruption. Spring brought new seeds and new hopes. Summer brought warmth and growth. And now autumn begins to approach, promising the harvest of fruits. Nature never rushes. Everything happens in perfect rhythm, where each season has its moment and its value. The peasant smiles to himself, observing the fruits of the earth, knowing that he too is part of this cycle. He does not need to force anything. Work in the fields is done patiently with a deep respect for nature's timing. He looks out over the horizon, where the hills are beginning to take on soft shades of orange and pink, reflecting the light of the setting sun. The countryside, which was once full of bright, saturated colors, now begins to calm down, the colors softening as the day draws to a close. The shadows of the trees and plants begin to lengthen, creating a peaceful and welcoming scene. The farmer feels a deep sense of belonging as he observes this silent scene, knowing that deep down he is in harmony with the entire process. He crouches down in front of a row of ripe carrots and begins to harvest the ones that are ready. The sound of the soil being shoveled away, the smell of fresh earth mixed with the aroma of roots, all of this surrounds him peacefully. He is in no rush to finish the task. Each carrot he pulls from the ground is treated with the greatest care, as if each one were a gift that the earth gives him in exchange for his patience. He feels a deep connection with the soil he has been cultivating, with the earth that gives him sustenance and life. He knows that without this peaceful work, without the care taken with each plant, the harvest would not be as rewarding. The countryside, now quieter as the end of the day approaches, seems to breathe with him. The farmer feels the rhythm of nature pulsing around him unhurriedly, without rushing. The sound of the breeze passing through the leaves of the trees, the soft song of the birds as they begin to settle down for the night, and the rustling of the plants being touched by the light breeze form a natural melody that fills the environment with serenity. He feels part of this silent music, with no need for words, just the sound of the world happening gently. He stands up and places the basket of carrots in his hand, walking back to the house with a calm step. The sky begins to darken, and the first stars begin to appear, twinkling softly overhead. The farmer looks at the field behind him, the rows of plants now darker, and feels a sense of duty accomplished. The work has been done, and now the cycle of the earth will continue its course, with the certainty that tomorrow will bring new challenges and new opportunities. Arriving at his home, he allows himself a moment to gaze out at the field one last time before entering. The gentle breeze still touches his face, and he can smell the fresh earth left in his hands. The connection with the field is deep, as if it were a natural extension of his being. He knows that tomorrow, at dawn, he will return to the field to continue his work. But for now, he can rest and surrender to the tranquility of the approaching night. Inside his home, the fire in the hearth still crackles softly, and the peasant settles down next to it, feeling the warmth of the flame on his face. The day ends slowly, without haste, without agitation. The cycle of the seasons, like the peasant's life, is constant and peaceful, and he knows that he is living according to the rhythm of the land. There is nothing more to be done, nothing to be rushed, chimney while pass, but he feels at peace with a clear awareness that he has done his part and that tomorrow will be a new day full of possibilities and peace. The morning arrives gently, as always, without rushing to arrive, as if the sun, when rising, were also respecting the natural rhythm of time. The farmer wakes up before the daylight becomes full, feeling the freshness of the morning air that enters through the half-open window. The field outside is still wrapped in soft shadows, like a blanket of tranquility. The silence of the night has not yet completely dissipated, but little by little, the day begins to dawn, revealing the serene beauty of the land. The peasant opens his eyes slowly, feeling the lightness of awakening. There is no rush, no urgency. The world around him is still at rest, and he allows himself to lie there for a moment, feeling the calm of the morning. The soft sound of the wind touching the leaves of the trees reaches him, almost like a whisper of nature, inviting him to get up slowly. He breathes deeply, feeling the fresh morning air enter his lungs. He realizes once again how the serenity of the countryside is able to calm his mind and soul. He gets up calmly, without rushing, letting the first rays of sunlight enter through the window. The countryside around him gradually reveals itself, with its soft colors that become more intense as the sun rises in the sky. The farmer looks outside, seeing the rows of plants, the trees, the fertile soil that he tends with so much love. Everything seems to be in harmony. He feels deeply connected to the cycle that repeats itself day after day, to the land that provides him with sustenance, and to the natural rhythm that guides his life. He stretches slowly, allowing his body to get used to the movement of waking up. There is no need to rush to get up, to start work, to race against time. The peasant understands that time, when respected and lived calmly, becomes an ally, not an enemy. He knows that work in the fields is a natural part of his life, but that life must be lived with patience and respect without rushing to achieve anything. He begins to prepare for the day, putting on his simple woolen clothes, but with Kari. He feels the fibers of the fabric touching his skin, and this somehow connects him even more with the simplicity and beauty of what is essential. He does not need fine clothes or adornments. What he wears is enough, and he feels grateful for that. The feeling of getting dressed for the day is not done with the weight of obligations, but with the lightness of someone who knows that each act, however simple, is a way of caring for himself and the world around him. He heads to the kitchen, where the fire in the fireplace, still warm from the flames of the previous night, provides the necessary heat to prepare his breakfast. The farmer begins to cut the fresh vegetables that he has grown himself, feeling the texture of the roots and the aroma that emanates from the plants growing in the field. There is no need to rush. He takes his time, preparing everything with the calm of someone who knows that the rhythm of the morning does not require agitation. Every movement he makes is a reflection of his connection with the land, with nature, with the very flow of life. The aroma of food begins to spread throughout the house, but the farmer is in no hurry. He knows that the simple act of preparing breakfast and enjoying the meal is a way of experiencing the present. The countryside and the land have taught him to value every moment, no matter how simple it may be. He sits down at the table and begins to eat, savoring each bite as a way of showing gratitude for the life he has, for the land that gives him everything he needs. As he eats, the farmer looks out the window once more. The countryside outside is now bathed in the soft light of the morning sun. The shadows on the trees are shorter. The plants become more vibrant as the light touches them. He feels that with each new dawn, the land is renewed, the cycle continues, and he, as part of this cycle, is renewed too. He is in tune with nature, with the quiet rhythm of the countryside, and this brings him immense peace. When he finishes his meal, he slowly gets up and starts walking out into the fields. The sky is now completely clear, and the fields, with their soft colors and warm tones, seem to be waiting for him. The farmer takes a deep breath, feeling the freshness of the morning that is still in the air. He looks at the plants he cultivates, at the land he tends so lovingly, and feels a silent gratitude for everything nature has given him. Every piece of soil, every plant, every tree has its own story, and he is part of that story. The farmer begins his day as he works calmly, knowing that time, like nature, is in no hurry. He touches the plants with his calloused hands, feels the earth that has been cultivated by him, and realizes once again how interdependent he and the field are. There is no rush. He moves calmly, following the rhythm of the field and the rhythm of life. Their work will be done, but there is no need to rush. The field, with its serene beauty, is his partner, and he knows that by caring for it, he is caring for himself. The sun, now higher in the sky, brings with it the softness of the afternoon, and the farmer feels that it is time to continue his work in the fields. He leaves the house with firm but unhurried steps. The field before him is vast and serene, and he feels in perfect harmony with the environment around him. The wind, soft and constant, passes through the trees, making the leaves move slightly, as if nature were dancing gently to the rhythm of the day. The farmer watches the plants before him, each one growing in its own time, without haste, without agitation. The rows of corn, carrots, and potatoes that he planted with such care are now ripening, ready for harvest. He does not need to rush anything. He knows that the work, as always, will be done patiently at its own pace. The earth, with its soft colors and textures, is a silent friend that accompanies him with every step. He feels it beneath his bare feet, still cool and slightly damp after the morning dew. He bends down to check the corn plants, which, with their tall stalks and already formed ears, are beginning to show signs of a good harvest. The corn leaves move gently in the touch of the wind, and he can see how the ears, heavy with grain, are ready for harvest. The farmer smiles to himself. It is not a large harvest, but it is enough. He has done his work with dedication and respect, and now the land, in its own time, is giving back. With calloused hands and immense patience, he begins to harvest the corn cobs. The sound of the plant being cut is soft but satisfying, like a small sigh of completion. He carefully places the cobs in the basket he carries with him, without rushing. Each cob he takes is treated with the utmost care, as if it were a gift from the earth. There is no rushing, no anxiety. Each gesture is made with serenity, as if time were being respected, as if work were a natural part of life. The farmer continues to harvest the corn calmly, always attentive to his work. He notices the small details, the song of an approaching bird, the gentle breeze moving the leaves of the trees, the smell of the earth, and the plants around him. Each of these small moments reminds him of his connection with nature, of how he and the field are an extension of each other. He feels at peace, immersed in the rhythm of the work, knowing that he is fulfilling his role, but without the rush that often accompanies obligations. The field, now quieter, seems to welcome his every step. He observes the fields around him, the land he tends, the plants that slowly grow under his care. There is no rush to finish the work. He knows that at the end of the day, the harvest will be harvested, but that, like everything in life, it has its time. The farmer realizes that he does not need to rush the land or his life. The field will grow, the crops will come, and he will do his work when the time is right. The sun begins to move slowly westward, and the afternoon light is taking on a golden hue. The farmer feels the heat of the day fading, but there is still enough warmth to warm his skin. He pauses, taking a deep breath and looking out at the field that now stretches peacefully before him. The corn plants, the trees in the distance, and the sky above everything seems to be in perfect harmony. He feels that he is in tune with this natural rhythm, with the constant movement of life unfolding without haste. With his basket full of corn, the farmer gets up and begins to walk back to his house, where the afternoon light begins to stream through the windows. The work is done, and now he can rest. The fields, with their soft colors and the peace they provide, are all around him, always in motion, but unhurried. He feels a silent gratitude for each moment, for each ear of corn he has harvested, for each leaf that has been touched by the wind. The fields and the land require no hurry, and he knows that everything happens in its own time. When he arrives home, the farmer carefully places the basket on the ground and begins to prepare dinner. The soft afternoon light continues to invade the house, creating soft shadows that seem to embrace the environment with a sense of welcome. He is in no hurry to prepare his meal. Like everything in the countryside, dinner will be prepared in due time, with the fresh ingredients he has harvested, with the care he always dedicates to each task. As the fire in the fireplace begins to heat the water for dinner, the farmer sits in his wooden chair, watching the fields through the window. He knows that tomorrow will be a new day, another cycle completed. But for now, he can rest, knowing that he has done his part, that he has taken care of the land, and that with patience and dedication. The harvest will come when the time is right. As the day draws to a close, the farmer feels a gentle transition from the heat of the afternoon to the cool of the evening. The countryside around him, which was so vibrant and full of life during the hottest hours, slowly begins to quiet down, as if at the same time that the sunlight is fading, nature is also preparing for a well-deserved rest. The sky, now tinged with orange and pink, reflects the softness of a day that is drawing to a close, bringing with it an indescribable sense of peace. The farmer has finished his work in the fields. The harvest was harvested with the usual patience, and now he finds himself back in his home, feeling completely at peace with everything around him. He allows himself a moment of silence, of rest, watching the colors of the sky that begin to blend with the blue of the night. The wind, which was stronger before, is now softer, passing through the trees around his house with a lightness that calms him even more. With the meal already prepared, he sits at the simple table, his gaze relaxed. The aroma of the food is comforting, a mixture of fresh roots, herbs, and vegetables harvested with such care during the day. Each ingredient seems to have been chosen not only out of necessity, but out of appreciation for what is simple and genuine. The peasant is in no rush to eat. He eats slowly, savoring each bite, with the knowledge that the food is a reflection of the quiet effort he has put in during the day. He knows that by taking this time to eat, he is also honoring the work the land has given him. As he eats, his mind seems to lose itself in the gentle rhythm of the falling night. The countryside is now enveloped in a deep silence, and the sound of the wind in the trees, which seemed so present during the day, now becomes almost imperceptible. The farmer, with his eyes closed for a moment, feels that everything around him is breathing in harmony. He breathes too, with the same tranquility, allowing the moment of pause to expand around him. The soft crackling of the fire in the hearth is also a comforting reminder that night is approaching. The warmth of the flames warms his skin, and the soft light of the fire casts dancing shadows on the walls, creating a cozy and intimate atmosphere. The peasant watches the flames for a few moments, feeling at peace with the movement of the embers. There is nothing urgent in the air, and he allows himself to stay there for a moment longer, contemplating the beauty of the simple, the peaceful. The rustling of leaves on the trees in the background and the occasional distant chirp of a cricket are the only sounds that fill the house. The countryside is now quiet, and the sky, which once seemed like a vibrant canvas of warm colors, is preparing to welcome the stars. Night arrives slowly, like a silent friend, that gently envelops him. The farmer feels grateful for this serene transition, where the day bids farewell without haste and the night arrives without interruption. He allows himself to relax in the chair, his head resting on the backrest, with his eyes closed, listening to the soft sounds coming from outside. The tranquility he feels now is a reflection of the cycle that repeats itself each day, of the work he has done, of the connection with the land, and of the trust that no matter the difficulties, everything will happen in its own time. The night, with its blanket of calm, is the silent reward for a day lived with patience, and the peasant surrenders himself to it, knowing that tomorrow will be a new cycle. But for now, he can simply be. He finishes his meal feeling at peace, certain that life in the countryside is made up of these simple moments, these peaceful intervals between work and rest. He gets up slowly and goes to the window, looking out over the countryside once more. The stars have already begun to shine, and the night sky opens up before him like a velvet carpet dotted with lights. He smiles to himself, knowing that this moment of contemplation is the essence of his life. He is part of something bigger, of a constant cycle that surrounds him, and that at the end of each day, he is a small link in this great chain that is nature. The peasant, now tired but at peace, prepares to rest. He turns off the light in the fireplace, leaving only the soft embers, which slowly die out. The fire no longer needs to be fed, and he goes to his straw bed, feeling the softness of the blankets that wrap him. The house, the earth, the trees, and the sky seem to accompany him in his rest, and he surrenders to sleep with the certainty that tomorrow life will continue its peaceful dance, as it always has, without haste, without interruption.